Good evening. This, the 119th meeting of the 71st term of Baltimore City Council, is now called to order. We're going to ask everyone who has cell phones to please turn them off or put them on vibrate. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Anthony Fliggins II of the Court of Christ Church. After the invocation, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us all bow our heads in a word of prayer. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for grace, for mercy, and for your favor. We thank you for looking beyond our faults and meeting us at our needs. We thank you for who you are in our lives. We pray the morning, noon, and night you are God, and besides you there is no other. Keep us and protect us, Father. Be to us what we cannot be to ourselves. Honor us in what we're doing. I pray that you touch this legislative body. Be with them and guide them, govern them, Father, as they stand, Father, and deal with difficult times and difficult cases. Father, I pray that you be with them, not only them, Father, but be with their families as well and their loved ones. Father, I pray that you protect them and guide them. Give them the wisdom, the skill, the understanding, the knowledge, and the faith they need, Father, to continue on their work. We give you all praise, glory, and honor. And lastly, but not least, Father, I pray that this summer you protect all of our children. You keep them, Father, watch over them. In the name of Jesus, Father, I pray that you cover them with your loving care in your arms. We give you all the praise, all the glory, and honor. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Kara, where's your case? The clerk will call the roll of the members.
President Young, Scott, Curran, Henry, Specter, Middleton, Mosby, Welsh, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Clark, Branch. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. It is the council custom to journalize the invocation. Ask for a motion, journalize the prayer. Motion by Councilwoman Specter, second by Councilman Costello. All those in favor of adopting the prayer, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We'll now move to the adoption of the journal.
Mr. President, the journal of the proceedings from the May 9th City Council meeting is on the council members' desks.
Is there a motion to approve the journal? Motion by Councilman Mosby, second by Council Vice President Reisinger. All those in favor of adopting the journal, say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried and the journal is adopted. Bills vetoed by the mayor can be found on page 2 of the agenda.
Mayor and City Council Resolution 12-0113, Charter Amendment, Ordinance of Estimates. Mayor and City Council Resolution for the purpose of authorizing the City Council to amend the Ordinance of Estimates to increase items of appropriation or add items for new purposes, subject to certain limitations, deleting the requirement that supplementary appropriations be recommended by the Board of Estimates, correcting, clarifying, and conforming related provisions, and submitting this amendment to qualified voters of the city for adoption or rejection. President Young?
Yes.
President Young, yes. Councilman Kraft, absent. Councilman Scott? Councilman Scott, no. Councilman Curran? Councilman Curran, no. Councilman Henry? Councilman Henry, yes. Councilwoman Specter? Councilwoman Specter, no. Councilwoman Middleton? Councilwoman Middleton, yes. Councilman Mosby? Councilman Mosby, no. Councilwoman Holton? Councilwoman Holton, yes. Councilman Welsh? Councilman Welsh, no. Councilman Reisinger? Councilman Reisinger, yes. Councilman Costello? Councilman Costello, yes. Councilman Stokes? Councilman Stokes, yes. Councilman Branch? Councilman Branch, yes. Councilwoman Clark?
I'm voting, and I'd like to explain my vote, but we are voting on the override, so
We're voting on moving the money around in the budget. We sit here and we talk about the council not having
Yes,
no
no, I
power, no
understand.
authority, and when we get the opportunity to do that,
if I wish to support the bill that we passed in this chamber, I'm voting yes, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, I just got a little distracted. So yes, I vote yes.
Councilwoman Clark, yes. 9 yeas, 5 nays, 1 absent.
Okay, thank you. It fails for lack of a quorum. Go ahead.
Mayor and City Council Resolution 15-0479, Charter Amendment, Board of Estimates Composition. Mayor and City Council Resolution for the purpose of reconstituting the Board of Estimates to comprise the Mayor, Comptroller, and City Council President, correcting, conforming, and clarifying related provisions, and submitting this amendment to the qualified voters of the city for adoption or rejection. President Young?
Yes.
President Young, yes. Councilman Kraft, absent. Councilman Scott? Councilman Scott, abstain. Councilman Curran? Councilman Curran, no. Councilman Henry? Councilman Henry, yes. Councilwoman Spector? Councilwoman Spector, no. Councilwoman Middleton? Councilwoman Middleton, yes. Councilman Mosby? Councilman Mosby, no. Councilwoman Holton? Councilwoman Holton, yes. Councilman Welsh?
You use the mic. Chair recognizes Councilman Wells.
Yeah, before I vote, a point of order. On the last vote, can I change my vote?
You can
Can I reconsider?
I think you can, but I think someone in the affirmative. Only by unanimous consent. Right,
After the roll call? Okay.
after roll call.
All right, I vote yes on this bill.
Councilman Welsh, yes. Councilman Reisinger? Yes. Councilman Reisinger, yes. Councilman Costello? No. Councilman Costello, no. Councilman Stokes? Yes. Councilman Stokes, yes. Councilman Branch? No. Councilman Branch, no. Councilwoman Clark? Yes. Councilwoman Clark, yes.
It fails for a lack of a majority. Yeah, you can read them off.
8 yes, 5 no, 1 pass, 1 absent.
Okay, we're going to go back to the Charter Amendment Ordinance of Estimate by the show of hands. Second by Council Vice Supervisor. You want to change his vote? I can't hear you back there. You wait down here, I can't hear you. If the member requests permission. Do all council members agree that he can change his vote? How many noes? Okay, that's roll call. And just remember, when you all want to change your vote, when you all want to change your vote, remember, it comes back to haunt you. Council President Young, yes.
Council President Young, yes. Councilman Kraft, absent. Councilman Scott?
Chair recognizes Councilman Scott.
Are we voting to allow Councilman Welch to
Yes,
reconsider his
to
vote?
change his vote, yeah.
No.
Councilman Scott, no. You want me to continue?
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Curran?
Might as well say no.
This is the motion to allow the councilman to change his vote. Yes.
Councilman Curran, yes. Councilman Henry?
I'm sorry. Point of order. Who made the motion? Because a motion
Mary
for
Pat.
motion for reconsideration needs to be made by someone on the prevailing side. So somebody.
So Pete.
So yeah, Councilman Welch himself could make the motion because he
There's
was.
a motion for Pete to change his vote, not, yeah. He moved it. Second by Councilwoman Clark. He just won his vote, nobody else's vote, but his vote.
Yes.
Councilman Henry, yes. Councilwoman Spector? Councilwoman Spector, no. Councilwoman Middleton? Councilwoman Middleton, yes. Councilman Mosby? Councilman Mosby, yes. Councilwoman Holton? Councilwoman Holton, yes. Councilman Welsh? Councilman Welsh, yes. Councilman Reisinger? Councilman Reisinger, yes. Councilman Costello? Councilman Costello, yes. Councilman Stokes? Councilman Stokes, yes. Councilman Branch? Councilman Branch, yes. Councilwoman Clark? Councilwoman Clark, yes. 12 yea, 2 nay, 1 absent.
You can change your vote. It's not unanimous, we have to have everyone. So it fails. So just remember that. All right. Well, here's what I want to say about both bills. And I said it earlier during the day. This body oftentimes complain about to different advocacy groups when it comes up to the 4.2 million for the children, the cooperative extension, and the list goes on and on and on. And we get a chance and an opportunity to strengthen this body. You know, we sit back and just be passive about it. And I think it's a sad testament when all we're doing is asking for us to put it on the charter for the voters to say yes or no. We holler we're a democratic society and we want our constituents to be able to voice their opinion. This is an opportunity for them to voice their opinion, but yet the council says no. You know, I mean, when it comes around to harness again, during budget time, and you go and tell your constituent all we can do is cut and we can't add, then look in the mirror and you blame yourself. I mean, because this is an opportunity. I mean, we had a unanimous vote that this is something that the council was behind. Then all of a sudden today, it reminds me of when we did the budget a couple years ago, where we found $17.5 million to keep every fire company open and the fund the cooperative extension and all the wonderful things that the administration wanted to cut. But yet we get an opportunity to stand up and we sit down. I just want you all to remember that when these times come, like we're dealing with it right now, with $4.2 million for after-school programs being cut out of the budget, cooperative extension being cut out the budget, experience court where our seniors are in our schools cut out the budget. I mean, you know, this is not about the council president. This is about giving our citizens a voice to say yay or nay, just like we did with the Charter Amendment. We're giving the citizens a chance to say yes or no. And I think we have failed the citizens tonight. This is not a defeat for the council president. I said that before when we did the budget. I mean, this is the council, this is the body that makes those decisions. And, you know, we just laid down on this one. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Spector.
Mr. President, members of the council, I understand your frustration.
I'm not frustrated, Councilwoman.
Oh, well, I understand what you're saying because I had the same sense having been here as a multi-member council person and a single member and knowing the difference that when there are long periods of time in this city council when a single member hasn't been available, hasn't been here for months at a time, and a whole district doesn't get a voice, doesn't get a vote. And when it came for the council to make that decision, I thought everybody agreed upon it, and it would have been an opportunity also for this democratic process to work. It never got to be also on the ballot. I understand what you're frustrated. Well, you're not frustrated, I am.
Thank you. Bills will be introduced.
Manhattan City Council Resolution 16-0668, operating budget for the Baltimore City Board School of Commissioners for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2017. Ordinance for the purpose of approving the budget estimated to be needed for the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners for operating programs during fiscal year 2017, providing for certification of the approved budget to the state superintendents of schools, and providing for a special effective date. Sponsored City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Budget and Appropriation Committee.
City Council Bill 16-0669, Port Covington Development District. Ordinance for the purpose of designating a development district to be known as the Port Covington Development District, providing for and determining various matters in connection with the establishment of the development district, creating a special tax increment fund for the development district, allowing certain property taxes to that fund, making certain findings and determinations, providing for a special effective date, and generally providing for matters relating to the designation and operation of the development district, the establishment and use of the special tax increment fund to provide for the payment by or reimbursement to the city for debt service, which the city is obligated to pay or has paid on any special obligation bonds or note issued by the city, the authorization of a pledge by the city subject to appropriation of the tax increment revenues pursuant to a contribution agreement to provide for the payment by the state issuer of the principal of and interest on the applicable state obligations issued in connection with the development district and other related costs, the replenishment of any reserve fund established for any bonds or state obligations, and the payment of certain expenses and administrative costs related to the operation of the Development District. Sponsored City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee. Just keep reading. Just keep going. Just keep going.
City Council Bill 16-0670, Port Covington Bond Issuance. Ordinance for the purpose of authorizing the issuance of special obligation bonds and the pledge, subject to appropriation of tax increment revenues and special tax revenues. Tax increment revenues and special tax revenues to the payment of debt service thereon, authorizing the pledge by the city subject to appropriation of the tax increment revenues and special tax revenues pursuant to a contribution agreement to provide for the payment by the state issuer of the principal of and interest on the applicable state obligations and other related costs, providing that such bonds or state obligations may be issued from time to time and in one or more issues or series in the aggregate principal amount not exceeding $660 million for the purpose of financing infrastructure improvements and related costs, including without limitation the project and other necessary improvements to, from, or within the development district, and certain other infrastructure improvements permitted by the acts, providing for the method and sources of payment for such special obligation bonds.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
Sponsored City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 16-0671, Port Covington Special Taxing District. Ordinance for the purpose of designating a special taxing district to be known as the Port Covington Special Taxing District, providing for and determining various matters in connection with the establishment of the special taxing district, creating a special fund for the special taxing district, providing for the levy of a special tax on all taxable real and personal property located in the special taxing district, providing for a special effective date, and generally providing for matters relating to the designation and operation of the special taxing district, the establishment and use of the special fund to provide for the payment by or reimbursement to the city for debt service which the city is obligated to pay or has paid on any special obligation bonds or notes issued by the city, the authorization of the pledge subject to appropriation of the special tax revenues pursuant to a contribution agreement to provide for the payment by the state issuer of the principal of and interest on the applicable state obligations issued in connection with the special taxing district and other related costs, the replenishment of any reserve fund established for any bonds or state obligations, and the payment of certain expenses and administrative costs related to the operation of the special taxing district. Sponsored City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
Mayor and City Council Resolution 16-0672, Charter Amendment, Board of Estimates, Local Small and Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. Mayor and City Council resolution for the purpose of authorizing the waiver or modification of certain procedures in order to assist local, small, or disadvantaged businesses and submitting this amendment to the qualified voters of the city for adoption or rejection. Sponsor Holton, President Young, Henry, Middleton, Costello.
You co-sponsors? Okay, before I recognize Councilwoman Holton, it's listed the Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee, but it's being referred to Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development. Nick, your co-sponsor? Please note that Councilman Mosby is a co-sponsor, Councilman Welch is a co-sponsor, Councilman Branch, Councilman Kern. Any more co-sponsors? Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a measure. For years, the small business community has been saying that, and this is truly the small business community in Baltimore City, that their opportunity to participate in contracts let from the city of Baltimore is often not available to them because the contracts are too large beyond their capacity. What this will do, it will modify the charter for a special inclusion that will put the city in a safe legal position to offer smaller contracts to create opportunity for small businesses in Baltimore City. It is a race and gender neutral initiative, which was one of the remedies called for in our Minority Women Business Enterprise Disparity Study, to have such a program to actually strengthen that program. And so this is a step in the process of helping us reach that goal, to really support those small businesses in Baltimore City that pay more to be businesses in Baltimore City than they do in other surrounding jurisdictions. I'd like to thank my co-sponsors on this legislation, and will hope that the chair will announce a speedy hearing that we might get this prepared for the ballot in November. Thank you.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee. Oh, Councilwoman Spector, you want to be added? Please note Councilwoman Spector is a co-sponsor.
City Council Bill 16-0673, Parking Tax Rate Modification, ordinance for the purpose of modifying the rate of the parking tax, deleting an obsolescent provision, providing for a special effective date, and generally relating to the imposition and collection of a parking tax. Sponsored City Council President on behalf of the administration.
This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 16-0674, Transit and Traffic, no camper or mobile home parking on residential streets, ordinance for the purpose of prohibiting extended parking, standing, or stopping of camping trailers, mobile homes, motorhomes, or travel trailers on residential streets, providing certain exceptions, setting certain penalties, and generally relating to the parking, standing, and stopping of camping trailers, mobile homes, motorhomes, or travel trailers on city streets. Sponsor Kraft, Reisinger.
This has been assigned to the Land Use. You want to be on it? Co-sponsor Costello, co-sponsor Carl Stokes. Any more co-sponsors? I can't answer it because it's not my bill. You can ask a question though. Can't speak to somebody else's bill. This has been assigned to the Land Use Transportation Committee.
Mayor and City Council Resolution 16-0675, Public Development Subsidies, Fair Development Standards, ordinance for the purpose of establishing a framework to guide the approval, rejection, modification, and creation of publicly subsidized economic and community development plans and projects in Baltimore, expressing the intent of the City of Baltimore that economic and community development subsidies provided by the city shall not be provided to private interests unless certain standards are met, and setting a special effective date. Sponsor Clark, Middleton.
Chair, any co-sponsor? Councilman Henry is a co-sponsor. Councilman Welch is a co-sponsor. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Mr. President, members of the council, thanks to my co-sponsors, I hope more of you will join me as time goes on. I believe this is a very timely resolution as we begin a new season of subsidies for developments, and more people in the general public are interested in the issue and the benefits, not only to the individual projects, but also to the city as a whole. What this resolution is, it's a mayor and city council resolution which has the power of law. It simply doesn't, it's not a regular ordinance that amends a code. It stands alone as a law, if approved. But basically, it provides a guiding principles of any project that is seeking subsidy from the city of Baltimore for a development. And so to give you examples of some of the general principles that it includes are the following: the public's right to projects that promote environmental sustainability, the right of employees of such projects to fair and living wages, health care benefits, and opportunities for skill enhancements, the right to organize collectively, and the right to labor peace, the right of all Baltimore citizens to transparency in the discussion, planning, implementation, and monitoring of publicly subsidized economic or community development plans or projects. It does not substitute in any way for the legislative negotiations of individual projects. It just simply says, if you are seeking such subsidies from the city, here's the context in which, by law, you must operate. And so I think it's something that gives assurances to developers about what's required in general, and to the general public about what will be required in general. And so thank you for your support so far. I hope as we go to hearing, we will be able to understand more clearly the protections I'm seeking to provide here. And special thanks to Peter Sabonis, who wrote this up as part of his nonprofit work of advocacy, and to United Workers, whose principles, general principles, he used in creating this resolution for the council. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been assigned to the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee.
City Council Bill 16-0676, Plant New Development, Amendment 1, Montgomery Park Business Center. Ordinance for the purpose of approving certain amendments to the development plan of the Montgomery Park Business Center Plant New Development. Sponsor Reisinger.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger. Okay, this has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee. Resolution to be introduced.
City Council Resolution 16-0304R, Informational Hearing, BCPS CEO Search Process. Resolution for the purpose of requesting that members of the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners appear before the council to discuss the secret search process conducted to hire a new CEO and answer questions regarding how the search was conducted, how candidates were vetted, and how the decision on a new CEO was made. Sponsor President Young.
Please note Councilwoman Spector, Councilman Kern, Councilman Mosby, Councilman Welch, Councilman Branch. You want to speak, Councilwoman Spector? Chair, let me speak first. This information hearing is called because of the secret process that was used by the Board of School Commissioners to find a new CEO without any information to the public or to legislators, whether it be state or city. They didn't notify the chair of our education committee. And in the paper it said that they used an outside firm that paid for it. And then the board chair recanted and said that they had their attorney to do it and they reimbursed him. So we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to call them in, and we're going to find out exactly what happened. This is in no way a slight to the CEO that they selected, but the process itself. So this chair recognizes Councilwoman Spector. This will be assigned to the Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee.
Thank you for introducing this, Mr. President, members of the council. At lunch, I mentioned that because we are co-partners in steering the Board of Education with the governor, I hope that someone from the governor's office will be invited to this hearing so that they won't be blindsided on our situation that we find ourselves in. Thank you.
We'll reach out to them. You can find the consent calendar in Section A at the back of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? Motion by Councilman Mosby, second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. This calendar is approved. We'll now move the bills on second reader. Judiciary and Legislative Investigation Committee.
City Council Bill 16-0639, Late Night Commercial Operations, Extended Scope. Ordinance for the purpose of extending the licensing, regulation, and related requirements governing late-night commercial operations to the B3 Business Zoning District.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I'd like to I have amendments that you have received on your desk to Bill 16-639. This is our late-night operations legislation being revised. This is a committee amendment offered from the floor that will enlarge the area in which petitioners can live in order to be eligible to petition against late-night operations for a qualified establishment. So here's the bill. The bill says you can't operate late-night establishments from midnight to 5, and if you can apply and get a license, then that's okay. When you apply and get a license, then the neighbors have 15 days to write a petition against that permission. And this enlarges the precincts, it doubles the number of precincts that are eligible to sign that petition. I'd like to move this amendment, if I may.
Second by Councilman Henry. All those in favor of adopting the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve these amendments are adopted. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Councilman, do you want to move this whole thing? Okay. I would like to move the main amendment, which is to include B3 establishments in the bill. So that bill, as amended, I'd like to move, please.
Hold up for 1 minute, Councilwoman. Because it was just one amendment. It was just this amendment here.
I have another amendment to move. I didn't see it as so small. Basically, amendment, well, I've talked about the first two amendments, but the third amendment, is that what you're talking about? Third amendment makes the bill take effect immediately upon adoption. My apologies. Here's your sheet. It's all one sheet, yeah. These are the amendments.
Was you moving all of the amendments all
I
at the
meant
same
to,
time?
but I'll take them apart if you want.
I can't hear you. If you moved all the amendments in
I
the
meant
bill,
to,
we're
yeah.
good.
The sheet, yeah.
Then we're good. You said amendments are on your desk.
Yeah,
and it's
I did
included
all
in the
those good
amendments.
things.
So you're good. All you need to do now is move the bill as amended.
I know. Move the bill favorable as amended.
Second by Councilman Henry. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. All opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reader. Land
you.
Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 15-0495, zoning, conditional use conversion of a one-family dwelling unit to two-family dwelling unit in the R8 zoning district, 926 Newington Avenue, for the purpose of permitting, subject to certain conditions, the conversion of a one-family dwelling unit to a two-family dwelling unit in the R8 zoning district on the property known as 926 Newington Avenue, as outlined on red in the accompanying plat.
Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Second by Councilman Mosby. All those in favor of approving the finding of facts, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve the finding of facts are adopted. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, the amendments are on my colleague's desk. I move the amendments.
Second by Councilman Mosby. All those in favor of approving these amendments, say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill is amended. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the bill favorable as amended.
Second by Councilman Mosby. All those in favor of approving this bill, say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reader.
City Council Bill 15-0572, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to a four-family dwelling units in the R7 zoning district, variances 1715 Spence Street, for the purpose of permitting, subject to certain conditions, the conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to four-family dwelling units in the R7 zoning district on the property known as 1715 Spence Street, as outlined and read in the accompanying plat, and granting variances from certain lot area coverage and floor area ratio requirements.
Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving the finding of facts, say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve the finding of facts are adopted. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, this bill has amendments on my colleague's desk. I move the amendments.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving these amendments, say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill is amended. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
I move the bill favorable as amended.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving this bill, say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reading. Somebody said nay? Oh, okay. All right, I thought I heard that.
City Council Bill 16-0622, repeal ordinance 02299, Flag House Court Hope 6, Plant Unit Development, for the purpose of repealing ordinance 02-299, which designated certain properties as a residential plant unit development known as Flag House Court Hope 6, and providing for a special effective date.
Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the bill favorable.
Second by Councilman Stokes. All those in favor of approving this bill, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this bill moves to third reader.
City Council Bill 16-0633, Plant Unit Development, Designation Canton Crossing, for the purpose of repealing the existing development plan for the Canton Crossing Plant Unit Development and approving a new development plan for the Canton Crossing Plant Unit Development.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, I move the finding of facts.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving the finding of facts say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve the finding of facts are adopted. Chair recognizes Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, this bill has amendments. I move the amendments.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving these amendments say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This bill is amended. Chair recognizes Council Vice President
Mr. President, I
Reisinger.
move the bill favorable as amended.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion is approved. This bill moves to third reader. Urban Affairs and Aging Committee.
City Council Bill 16-0638, Urban Renewal Hilton North Business Area Amendment. Ordinance for the purpose of amending the urban renewal plan for Hilton North Business Area to amend Exhibit 4 of the plan to reflect the changes in zoning upon approval by separate ordinance for the properties known as 3000 through 3052 West North Avenue, waiving certain content and procedural requirements, making the provisions of this ordinance severable, providing for the application of this ordinance in conjunction with certain other ordinances, and providing for special effective dates.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee heard this bill on May 12, 2016. There is a technical amendment on your desk. I move the amendment favorable.
Second by Councilman Mosby. All those in favor of adopting this amendment say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Members are adopted. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
I move the bill favorable as adopted.
Second by Councilman
Amended,
Mosby.
rather.
All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. All opposed, nay. This bill moves to third reader.
City Council Resolution 16-0299R, investigative hearing, Fuel Fund of Maryland Local Partnerships, resolution for the purpose of calling on the Fuel Fund of Maryland to maintain its partnerships with nonprofit agencies throughout Central Maryland, and especially Baltimore City, to assist Baltimore's most fragile population with preventing power terminations and securing power restorations, and inviting representatives of the Fuel Fund of Maryland, its local nonprofit partners, and Baltimore Gas and Electric to appear before the council to discuss how the city and BG&E can help the Fuel Fund retain its ties with these partners and breathe new energy into a preeminent program adopted nationwide but requiring an infusion of renewed commitment here at home.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee also heard this resolution on May 12, 2016, and it was a very good and productive hearing, and it appears the situation is on its way to a resolution. I yield to the sponsor of the bill if she'd like to say anything more about the hearing that took place before we move the bill.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you. Just for a moment, I would like to thank the chair for the hearing because it was instrumental. And because of this hearing, and by the way, where my colleague from the 11th District is sitting is where Councilwoman Victorine Q. Adams used to sit when I was back there where Councilman Mosby is. And she started the Fuel Fund of Baltimore City after the two of her elderly constituents froze to death in their homes. And I'm very proud, thank you, that we've kept that tradition alive. And basically, the problem that was occurring has been resolved, and the local nonprofits, which have been partners of the Fuel Fund of Maryland, will continue as partners. They're happy. Thank you for the resolution to the Maryland Fuel Fund and to the committee.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I move the resolution favorable.
Second by Councilwoman Clark. All those in favor of adopting this resolution say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion to approve this resolution is adopted. Third reader for final passage.
City Council Bill 16-0647, Supplementary State Fund Capital Appropriation, Department of Transportation, $2 million. Ordinance for the purpose of providing a supplementary state fund capital appropriation in the amount of $2 million to Department of Transportation to provide funding for resurfacing neighborhood streets and providing for a special effective date. President Young, Scott, Curran, Henry, Spector, Middleton, Mosby, Holton, Welsh, Reisinger, Costello, Stokes, Branch, Clark.
This bill is approved. Committee announcement. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Everyone will see on their desk they have a revised budget hearing schedule. Beginning on Tuesday, May 31st, please make note of it. as we will begin those hearings on Tuesday, May 31st. Everyone should have received the detail of the budget by now in their offices. Mr. President, I need to move to suspend rules 10-2, 10-3 to announce a hearing.
Second by Council Vice President Reisinger. All those in favor of suspending rules and announce the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton.
Thank you. The Budget and Appropriations Committee will hear City Council Bill 160668 on Monday, June 13th, 9 a.m. here in Council Chambers. Operating budget for the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2017. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few bond bills to announce. So Taxation, Finance, Economic Development Bill number 16-0640. Affordable housing loan of $6 million. It will be heard May 26th here in Chambers at 10:30 a.m. Bill number 16-642, Community Economic Development Loan of $45 million will be heard in Chambers May 26th at 10:40 a.m. Bill number 16-0641, school loan, $34 million, will be heard here in Chambers at 10:35 a.m. And Bill number 16-0643 will be heard at 10:45, May 26, 2016. It is Recreation Parks and Public Facilities loan for $45 million. A few other bills. Bill number 16-0665 will be heard June 2nd, 2016 at 10:05 a.m. here in Chambers. Sale of property, former bed of Sinclair Lane, and certain streets lying within the former Freedom and Claremont Homes project, now known as Orchard Ridge. There's a reconvened hearing of 16-0634, which is the Employees Retirement System and Elected Officials Retirement System, actuarial assumptions, benefit payments, clarifications, and modifications. That will be 10 a.m. here in Council Chambers. And finally, I need to move for suspension of rules 10-2 and 10-3.
Second by Councilman Costello. All those in favor of suspending the rules to announce the hearing, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Nays have it. Chair recognizes Councilman Stokes.
Thank you. On June 2nd, 2016, 10:30 a.m. here in Chambers, we will hear a bill just introduced this evening, a charter amendment, Board of Estimates, local, small, and disadvantaged business enterprise program. Because of the need to hear the bill in time for it to, if it's adopted, to go before the voters, we will hear this bill again 10:30 a.m. June 2nd here in Chambers. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Oh, yeah. Mr. President, members, I need to move to suspend the rules, suspend Rule 10-2, 10-3 to announce a hearing.
Second by Councilman Scott. All those in favor of suspending the rules and announce the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carried. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. This will be a hearing for City Council Bill 16-666. It will be held on Tuesday, May 24th, 2016 at 9:15 a.m. Before the Judiciary and Legislative Investigations Committee. It is a bill for naming the bridge located between the 1200 and 1300 blocks of Fort Avenue to be Karen J. Johns Memorial Bridge. It's sponsored by Council Member Costello of the 11th District. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Reisinger.
Mr. President, members of the council, the Land Use and Transportation Committee will hold a hearing on Bill 16-0662 on Wednesday, June the 8th, 12:45 p.m. in the council chambers. This is a rezoning located at 1215 East Fort Avenue. The committee will also hold a hearing on Bill 16-0629 on Wednesday, June the 15th at 1 p.m. in the council chambers. This is a zoning, it's a conditional use convalescent nursing and rest home located at 300 through 306 West Fayette Street. The committee will hold a hearing on Bill 16-0644 on Wednesday, June the 15th at 1:15 p.m. in the council chambers. This is zoning. It's a conditional use conversion of a single dwelling unit to 2 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district. Variance is located at 305 East Lafayette Avenue. The committee will also hold a hearing on Bill 16-0637 on Wednesday, June the 22nd at 1 p.m. in the council chambers. This is a rezoning from 3000 to 3052 West North Avenue. The committee will hold a hearing on Bill 16-0616 on Wednesday, June the 22nd at 1:30 p.m. In the council chambers. This is for hookah lounges. The purpose of authorizing hookah lounges as conditional use in certain zoning districts. The committee will also hold a hearing on Bill 15-0583 on Wednesday, June 29th, 1 p.m. in the council chambers. This is a rezoning located at 1524 West Pratt Street. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Labor Committee will hear City Council Ordinance 16-0655 on Wednesday, June 15, 2016 at 5 o'clock in DuBurn's chambers. It will be a televised hearing. It's for the labor and employment. The city minimum wage is for the purpose of setting Baltimore City minimum wage for the years 2016 through 2021. It's better known as the $15 an hour minimum wage bill, a very important issue which the Labor Committee will discuss in Wednesday, June 15, 2016, 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Urban Affairs and Aging Committee will hear City Council Bill 150580 on June 16th, 2016 at 3 p.m. here in council chambers, and its ordinance concerning the Baltimore City landmark list, the exteriors of the American Legion Federal Post number 19, and the sponsors of that introduced by Costello and Welsh. And also on June 16th, we will hear City Council Bill 160658 here in council chambers at 3:10 p.m. And it's an ordinance, it's another Baltimore City landmark list, the exteriors of the Ambassador Theater. And the sponsor of that bill is Councilwoman Spector.
Thank you. Regular announcements. Chair recognizes Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to take a moment right now, while I still have people's attention, to recognize that we have some guests in the audience today. We have 4th and 5th graders from Govans Elementary School. If they would all please stand. So they've had the opportunity to see how the City Council works today. I want to thank you all very much for that, because now I get to go in there and explain any of the questions that they might have. But also, Govans Elementary is one of the Wave 2 schools in the 21st century facilities plan. And so while they're down here watching how we work, their parents and some of the teachers have also had the opportunity to see how the school system works, as we've recently had the 50% 50% feasibility study. Thank you, Councilman. The 50% feasibility study where parents, teachers, and other community stakeholders have had the opportunity to see the different options that the school system is considering for the renovation or rebuild of Govans Elementary. And I am hopeful that that process will continue to be just as cooperative and productive as the City Council process is here for all of us coming to view these meetings. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Spector.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate my colleague, the chair of the Urban Affairs and Aging Committee, there's been a problem, property in the Howard Park community, the Ambassador Theater. It had another glitch, and the community has really been exposed to tremendous disadvantage by the condition of that building. But now that we're able to schedule it for a landmark designation, I think it's June 16th at 3 o'clock. That will be a great help to the community, and I thank the chair for scheduling that as quickly as she could. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to do a moment of silence for my aunt that passed away yesterday morning, Faye Burnett. She is the wife of Dr. Sidney Burnett, a well-known dentist that has deceased before her. So she's joining her husband. So I'd like a moment of silence.
Yeah, now, while we're on the moment of silence, Bernard Dixon Jr. Bernard Dixon Jr. Moment of silence for him, too. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Holton. Then you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to say that this Sunday, May 22nd, is No Menthol Sunday. It is an opportunity for the faith community in a national interfaith effort to educate congregants about the ill health effects of tobacco and to say no to the sale of mentholated and candy-flavored tobacco products. As we have taken up this issue and have legislation pending to create buffer zones around our schools, this year's theme is Into the Light. It's rooted in Ephesians 5, and it urges us to have nothing to do with what is done in the dark. Instead, the scripture inspires us to come into the light where our areas of need are illuminated and healing can occur. So World No Tobacco Day is May 31st, and we're asking the faith community to inform their congregations about this. And if you know of anyone, I'll send some information. Please share it with those churches and other houses of worship in your district to support No Menthol Sunday that we're actually doing throughout the month of May and into June, because it is an important issue. And what people don't understand, most of the ailments that people die from in one form or fashion are tobacco related. It is an epidemic, and each year the city of Baltimore, it costs us millions of dollars to get even more millions of dollars from the federal government, simply because we have retailers that are selling tobacco products to minors. So it is a very serious issue. Health is a serious issue that impacts our communities. If you want further information, please let me know. There's a whole toolkit on how they can get involved and participate with this wonderful national, international effort to help reduce tobacco use in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman Costello, followed by Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for a moment of silence for Ken Horseman. He was a resident and small business owner in South Baltimore who unfortunately passed away early. Late last week. He owns a magic venue. Son ended up becoming a world-famous magician. Leaves behind his son, Spencer. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark.
Mr. President, members of the council, I'm sorry that my colleague, the chair of Labor, has had to leave, but I want to thank him for scheduling our $15 by 2020 bill for June 15th. It's an easy date to remember. I just want to mention how important this issue is to all of Baltimore, the pros, the cons, and the in-betweens. We've been through a hard year. We need to bring our city into one city, and economics is the basic way that has to be done. It is good to bring programs into communities. It is much more important to bring self-sufficiency of individuals and families so that programs are not as necessary. People can support themselves. Now, $15 is an awful lot. It wouldn't happen until 2020. Today in Baltimore, $15, and according to federal guidelines, $15 is what you need to support a family of one. It's about $30,000 a year, and it's what you need today in 2016 to be able to support one person in a family alone so that they don't have to end up at the church pantry at the end of the month. We're talking about that finally happening in 2020. And I would like to say, people have been passing through to meet, business people, and I am very impressed with the tone of concern they're showing for the state of the city and the need for this kind of justice. I'm not saying everybody's coming in support, but not the kind of opposition I've felt in the past around issues like this, but more of a conversation. And my response is, okay, what will it take to make this work? Because it's got to work. We have to do this. The division, the gap, begins with dependency and lack of self-sufficiency. So thank you to my colleague who's called the hearing. I hope people will come. I know that he's ready to stay as long as it takes to hear what everybody has to say. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Council Vice President Rossi.
President, members of the council, next meeting of the city council will be held on Monday, 6 at 5 p.m. in the council chambers. And Mr. President, I ask for a moment of silence for Bernard Dixon Jr., Ms. Marie Williams, Dr. Ella White Campbell, James Lilly, Faye Burnett, and Ken Horseman.
Thank you. There being no further business, this concludes the 119th meeting of the 71st term of the Baltimore City Council. Good night.